What if we bring some color into this idea? And what if we coffee dye these papers without drying this texture paste first? Hi, this is Luise Heinzl, and for you it might look like I'm sitting on this desk. No, not on. This is going to become a running gag. At this desk for the last few days. But for me, it's just a few hours after I recorded this here, which was my first episode of my new What If series here on my channel. What is that? I have decided that I want to fulfill a wish slash command slash request from many of you out there, because you have suggested that I shall turn my what if moments into a series. So that's what I'm trying here. The series is irregular but regular at the same time, so I'm planning on making more of these episodes, of this what if series. The first episodes will be about dyeing paper, because I have several ideas how to change this base idea here into something else. But there will also come other things in the future, because such a what if moment can be nearly everything in my brain. That can be tearing paper in a special way, that can be a special journal spine or a format for a junk journal or whatever, yeah? That can be like experiments with mediums and so on. That can be everything. So it's not limited to paper dyeing, but I want to first start with that and make several episodes about that, because I have several ideas. If you have missed the first part of this new series, then check out the description box of this video. I've linked it there for you. There you can see how we made these papers here. And when I finished the video and when I transferred the video footage to my computer, that takes a while because my computer is like a potato, really slow. I mean, is a potato slow? I have no idea. But when I did that, and I needed to wait for the footage to transfer to my computer, I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have some sprays or so on here so that it's not only brown? And wouldn't it be cool to see what then happens? And then I came to the idea, what if we take some paper, and I will start with regular copy paper here again, because I think that is what the most of you have at home as well. And later on I want to try photo paper as well, but let's start with this. So what if we start in a similar way like the last time, meaning we're going to take a paper and a stencil, and this just came with the postman. THS 054, and then I want to take first this modeling paste here by Stamperia, and I want to try this paste with this idea first, because this, as you can see, is pretty liquid, and I really liked what it did on the other pages I already made. So let's try this here. But obviously, if you don't have stencils, you could also take, for example, a piece of cardboard or so, punch some circles or whatever you have with a, this hand circle punch, or die cuts or whatever you have, and then just stencil through that. It doesn't have to be numbers or so, but I thought I want to try this here. Oh. I love this stencil already. So I turn that around and do this here a little bit wet and wet, so that this gets a little bit. You know what I mean? Yes, the numbers are then reversed, or how do you say that in English? Mirrored, or what is the word? But I'm not looking for a clear impression of this, even if I got this here already, but I want something like a background or so. Holy moly, guacamole. Hopefully this will still work. It's approximately, I don't know, a few minutes later, because there was someone at my door who needed my help. So, don't ask, okay? Let's try this anyway. If this is already too dry, then we will see that. So what do I want to do? I want to try to bring this in here, and then, wait, let's see. I want that approximately this part of the paper gets only the coffee. I'm pretty surprised. I was expecting that this is, you know, will, do you know what I mean? Get destroyed somehow. It's pretty oh my goodness, it's pretty sturdy on there. That is crazy. That means we can leave it in here for a while. I thought that I need to be very careful with this part, and that I can then take it out like so, so that this here gets a little bit more abstract, and that this stuff, you know, blends then into the background by getting destroyed. I'm still pretty confused, because this is not what I originally was trying to do. I don't have so much experience with this paste yet. This paste is pretty new to me. So what I don't know is, how will this dry? If it would dry like this, and if then the spray stain would be permanent on the paste, that would be a really crazy game changer, I would say. But I already found out that if we take this paste, and I'm only talking about this paste, yeah, please don't get confused. When I take this paste, then I put that to a paper, and when I then let that dry and then spritz something like the spray stain on it, this reacts like a resist. Wait, I can even show you that. Look, here. The stenciled pattern in white, which you can see here, is exactly the paste I have here. But I have put that on some paper here without coffee. Yeah? And then I have let that dry. Here's also some glitter involved. Don't get confused about that. That doesn't matter for this. But then I have sprayed it with spray stain and oxide spray. And then I found out that it's like a resist, and that I could take 99% of the spray off from the paste, which is really cool, because then we can have this white pattern as a cool background on these colorful other areas. And I really like that. But here the paste was dry before I added the spray. Here the paste is obviously still wet. So what will happen when this dries? Will it then be like embedded in this paste? If yes, I mean, look, then that would be really, really cool. Where is my weathered wood? I want to add some weathered wood here as well. And it would be really cool to have some coffee on here as well. So I will try to take a big paintbrush, not for brushing over it, because then that would probably destroy everything, but I want to try it like this. And then I will take my heat tool and dry this. If this stays here like it is, oh my goodness, that looks so cool. Look, can you see that? Before I show you the front, can we please quickly talk about the back side of this paper? Can you see that the stencil pattern is clearly visible here? I mean, you have to look close to really see it, and I'm assuming that this has to do with the heat we put on here. We know this phenomenon from coffee dyeing papers with, for example, lace in the oven or in the sun, where you then can later on see the pattern of the lace or a stencil or so. And I'm assuming that this effect is somehow happening here with the heat of my heat tool. So it's not so extremely visible everywhere, but I really like this look. And it's cool that it is so subtle, because if it was the same intensity like the front, then it wouldn't be so cool. I mean, this is a cool variation. And this is now the front. How freaking easy was that? I mean, what the heck? Glue this to a journal cover and be happy, please. But it's not coming off. Let's give it the clean paper towel test. This is dry. It's not coming off. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But what if we make this wet? And if this now, when we go over this with a wet paper towel, is permanent, then I'm freaking out. Be prepared. Perhaps you want to mute the sound. What? Okay, not completely. But what? I mean, what? Yes, some of the medium is coming off, but the most of it, let's take more water. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's take this out from here. Look, can you see how light it gets there? But at the same time, here are areas where it stays exactly the color it was before. Yeah, well, that's also not such a good description of what's happening here. You can make like an outline here. Can you see that? It's getting lighter here on the outside. Here it got completely, nearly completely white. Oh, look. Oh. Can you see that? Can you please? I mean, what? I'm totally speechless. Okay. Let's try something. Let's take another stencil. Again, a piece of copy paper. And let's then try to do what we have done on the other sheet here as well, but a little more intentional. So here I have now a pretty thick layer of this. With lifting this up and still having the paste on here, I will let it overlap way more than on the other piece to be able to get this smudged look here. So I've turned the stencil to the other side, yeah. So now it's here. I have the back of the stencil now. When I lift this up, I have all this sludge here. So now I take it in the right direction. So now this is the front again. I let it overlap again here. Take a little bit more here so that we can have the pattern, but at the same time this sludge in the background. This is again the back side now, and I do the same here. And now I want to try to somehow do something which I already thought in the beginning, and what originally the intention was, but differently. So I take this, and I know that I can put it in here now. Then we can leave it in here, press it down a little bit, and then let's carefully take it out, and let's take it out relatively quickly so that it is not too long in there. so that the paper can't get too fragile. Because we know that we can still throw coffee on later. I mean, you could also try to only spritz it if you don't want to use coffee. And then let's take a paintbrush, and I will dip my paintbrush here into my coffee so that this gets really liquid and that it is loaded up with coffee. I don't know if that makes a difference, but I want to try that. And then I will go in here and try to brush over this. Because this was what I originally thought I could do by only dipping it into the coffee. Yeah, when I did that on the other sheet in the beginning, I thought that the texture paste would do something like this, that it would smear and then, my English, I'm so sorry, that it then would somehow blend into the background, like it will hopefully do here now. And I'm really excited what will happen with the paste here now, there where we've brushed it. This, I mean, if this works, then we could make something like a wallpaper effect or so, especially with this flourish stencil. And when I think about the postman, then I'm really... let's try something. I also got this. I wanted this for ages, and now I finally have it. This is THS 038. In theory, the following thing should happen. We have here a mixture of the paste and the water, right? Sorry, the paste and the coffee, right? So that means in these areas, the paste is thin, yeah, when this is dry. Like here, where we saw where the paste is thin, we could get it to be white in the end again by going over it with the paper towel. What if we now take this and put this over here? Oh, my brain is exploding in a second, I'm so sorry. This texture paste, the opaque texture paste by Ranger and Tim, is different to this one. Why is she using her finger? Because she has left the spatula in the kitchen where she has cleaned it, and now it's there. And she doesn't want to run into the kitchen again, even if running would be pretty good for her body, but you know, I'm assuming that this is going to become a catastrophe. Yeah, I need a spatula, because this texture paste is not a resist. We know that already, and we've also learned that in the other video. What happened to this spatula? Oh my goodness. So is it perhaps possible to get this pattern on here, even if the dings here is so wet? It's hard to get this on here, but if we can get it on there, then the reaction with the paste, sorry, I'm so sorry, the reaction with the sprays would be completely different. And what I'm thinking is, can we have this in front of the other pattern, but more intense, so that it looks like this wall is in front of this? Let's take the same colors we have used before. What was that? Stormy Sky and Weathered Wood. I mean, shall we even try to get the bricks in another color? What about some orange? crackling campfire. Yeah, that would work. Holy moly. I will then again take my paintbrush and throw some coffee on here, like we did it on the other sheet as well. This will take forever to dry, but this gives me also the chance to let this move into each other a little bit. Look, and then it gets another color there, and then it looks not so cut off here where the bricks are. Can I perhaps even move this sludge in here? And at the same time we can manipulate this. I mean, this will probably not become a masterpiece because it's a test page. But why don't we try to get the bricks also a little blended into the background. If you only wanted to move the spray, you could obviously also try to lift your mat, or if you don't have a mat, lift the table, you know, and do it like this. Then it also goes into the other direction, and then you would have the pattern of the bricks in this case in the original condition. Oh, this, look. Oh. But what I can already see is that it will do exactly what I was expecting. Oh my goodness, that is so cool here. I don't know if you can already see that. I'm already pretty happy with what I'm seeing here right now, even if it's not completely dry yet. But what I also want to know is, and that would make a really massive difference, what happens if we add oxide spray? Because what we can see here is that we have a clear crisp pattern on the sludge, yeah, but we can still see the stencil of the quatsch. Sorry, we can still see the pattern of the stencil even if we have the sludge underneath, yeah. And also here, here it's not so extreme, but here where I went over it with the paintbrush, and even here where this like one wallpaper effect is, or here, we can see that. But what if we add oxide spray? What will then later happen, especially when we go over that with the paper towel later? I want to know that as well. And hopefully I will not destroy this here, no, even if it's only a test piece. But you know, let's take some weathered wood oxide spray. Weathered wood oxide spray. Wait, where's... hello? What is this doing? I mean, what? Oh, okay. No, it's doing what it should. What was that? Have you ever experienced that? That was weird. Have you seen that? Oh my goodness. Because what I want to know is, will the oxidation also dry on here, or can we rub that off? And if yes, how will it then look? And where will be the difference between this paste and this paste? This moment when you think it's already so dry that I can carefully lift it off here so that the heat can go through the paper, then it would obviously dry way faster. And you turn this around. What the heck? Oh my goodness. That is magic. I can't believe what I see here. To be honest, I have not expected that I will get something like this here from this really simple idea I had in the beginning. Okay, so what shall we do next? Let me take a dry paper, put that here so that I don't get water on there. And let's now first see what we can get when we go over this with a wet paper towel. And let's see how this whole thing will react. I'm assuming that this sludge under the pattern will get lighter now. Because that is what happened on the other sheet as well, and it's not so extreme here like on the other one, but this is really nice. Here, look. Here it's doing what I was assuming that it does. Here we have the other texture paste, and as you can see, this is way more stained. I think I will not go over this with too much water to avoid that this gets somehow pinkish or so, because that is not what I can, what I want to have for these pages, because I already have a color palette in mind which I need. The oxidation stays a little bit on the paste, which is really, really cool, because then we have the pure and the full oxidation on the background and a little bit on the bricks, and that makes it look really blended into each other. Here it started to get lighter, and here, oh yes, look. I would say one wallpaper effect by accident also. That's probably the title of this video. Yeah, geil. Oh my goodness. Look. What if we take a sheet of photo paper? Let's take this, THS 020. I mean, if this is not wallpaper, then I don't know. Let's take this paste again. And let's also, at the same time, take this paste. And I mean, if you don't have different texture pastes, yeah, then you can also, of course, do this with only one paste, because that can give really cool results as well. So the plan is now to get, again, such a worn wallpaper effect, but not by using this brush, but by putting this in here. And now I want to try two different ideas on this one sheet. Just leave it in there for a moment. And now I want to try on this side to just do it like this. Not everywhere, but you know. Not extreme enough. It looks destroyed, but not extreme enough. Oh. This looks nearly like peeled off, but it's not extreme enough. Let's do this again. Take a brayer. Obviously not everywhere. Look. That was nearly already too much. No. But can you see that? It was already nearly too much. But that doesn't matter. Another thing I thought was we could try to crumble the paper. Oh, that is also nice. Oh, that is also nice. Can you see that? That is nearly cooler than this, isn't it? I will try to get this effect which I have here in a little area here as well. Oh, and I'm really wondering what's going to happen with this now color wise, because this is photo paper and photo paper reacts weird, you know. Weird in a positive way, but weird. That's also the reason why I'm assuming that I will not use oxide spray here now, because but I'm not so sure. Shall we? Wait, it's an experiment. Let's use a little bit of oxide spray as well. To be honest, I have never tried oxide spray in combination with coffee on photo paper, but we will now find out what is, if that is a good combination. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's take some Stormy Sky oxide spray. I just found something out which is really time saving, I would say. I've just taken a paper towel and I went around here to pick up this liquid around the paper, and then I wanted to take my finger and do it like so, so that the edges of the paper don't stick to the glass mat. And then I thought, here where it's already pretty dry, is it perhaps possible to influence this white effect already in this stage when it's not completely dry yet? And that works. I can take a paper towel and press on here. This is already so dry that it doesn't get destroyed. Yeah, the pattern is stable. But I can here now influence where I want to have it lighter, and do that with my paper towel already now. And I find that really cool, because that saves obviously a ton of time, because then the liquid is not here anymore. And perhaps it gets even whiter than if we would do that with a wet paper towel afterwards. The reaction of the sprays on the photo paper is not as extreme as I thought. This bleeding of the ink is not so extreme. Here we can see it a little bit, that it gets really like weird colors, and with weird I mean colors we've not spritzed on here. I'm really curious what has happened to the back side of this paper, because often oh, I'm sorry, when we spray an oxide medium on photo paper, the back side is doing something pretty weird. Wet paper towel. This is the coolest effect I've ever seen. I need more water. And the backside is surprisingly not neon. Hey, is that because of the coffee or because it's not totally dry yet? Why is that? We can't see any of the sprays here. I mean, in my case, that is good. This fits perfectly to what I want to do with it, but I'm a little bit surprised about the reaction of this paper. Now I need to hurry up, because I just saw something on Instagram. And that's this story here. And if you know, you know. If you know me, then you know that I can't miss this. And now it's 6 minutes before this is going to start, which is a live stream by the one and only Daniel Evans. If you don't know him yet, please check him out. If you're interested in really good music, check him out. There is his handle at Daniel Evans Sings on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube. Check him out, okay? And I won't say that if I wouldn't be convinced that this is good. Yeah, I don't recommend bad things here. You know me. Yeah, so I need to let the rest of this air dry, because I need to go now. I need to find my headphones and my go to my comfortable dingsbums couch, and then I need to finish recording this video later or tomorrow. But obviously for you it's just the same video. It's in the next second you will see the results of this when everything is completely dry. But this is really surprising. I mean, does this mean that we have found a way to protect the backside of photo paper from this bleeding of the sprays on the other side? Is that a rule now, or what is that, or is this just coincidence? I need to figure that out, because if that would be for all of those techniques and all of those papers, that would be absolutely mind-blowing, because we just would need to add some coffee to this whole stuff and then, you know, put it on here, put the sprays on here. I mean, to be very, yeah, also honest to myself and to you, the colors would obviously change. Yeah, the spray would then not look like the original color anymore. Everything would get a little more brownish and vintage and so on. But I would say that is a pretty cool thing if that would work for all of these sheets. This backside effect which we got here, we don't have that on the other paper. That obviously only happens on the copy paper, but this is absolutely gorgeous. I'm totally in love with how this came out. And I'm really a little bit shocked that we came from this, which already was not what I was trying to do, to this, with this crazy backside, and then to this. That shows how extremely important experimenting is. I really love these papers, and they are so different. I mean, look, if you would put these into one and the same journal, and you wouldn't have seen this, I mean, another person wouldn't have seen this video and how you made those papers, you would never think that they came from one and the same session, because they are just so different, especially when you do it like this. Oh, see you the next time. Have a very great and creative day. Bye.